Keep an eye on my mess. That's fine, Jean. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We'll begin with a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could we remain standing for a moment of silence prayer for all the flood victims in California and across the ocean and whatnot, our service people?
Absolutely. And I'd ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Supervisor Hawthorne?
Here.
Counselor Edwards?
Present.
Counselor Greco?
Here.
Counselor Haggerty?
Here.
Counselor Abbott? Highway Superintendent Moyer? And Deputy Supervisor Okanowski.
As I'm sure you've noticed, we have made some changes to the rules of procedure. When you came in, if you didn't get a list of the new rules, they're right there. And we have, at your request, moved the public comment to the beginning of the meeting, and we'll see how this works. The first person I have on this list is Ed Williamson.
Good evening. My name is Edward Williamson. I live on the Bingham Road, and I have one question before I start. Can we direct questions to the board that can be answered by the county legislator?
During his report?
Not during his report. Like when we get up to speak, can we give out questions that he can give answers to when he's up here talking?
Is it pertinent to the town?
In some cases, yes. In some cases, well, anything that the county does is pertinent to the town.
Oh, yeah, in a very roundabout way, but
Because many of the people in the town don't have any other time to ask their legislator questions, because many of them can't go to the 2 o'clock meetings in the afternoon. And unless he is willing to stay here afterwards, which would be
generally he
fine,
is.
and
I
answer
think-
the questions.
I think that would be the better way.
Okay, fine, no problem.
He always has been, so.
On the new rules and that you put out, they're excellent, except are they did you put them out to follow the county?
No,
No?
we
Because
didn't.
the county has a time after the meeting is over that the people can talk about anything. It's only prior to the meeting that they have to talk about the resolutions that are being
And we
voted
did
on.
not limit that to talking about the resolutions. You
Okay.
may talk about whatever.
Okay, thank you. A while back, I sent you a letter in November requesting verification about 2 code enforcement officers, Talents and Dalton. I've never heard anything back from you on that. I'd like to have you send me copies of their certification slips from the school or wherever they went, as well as the name of the school that they attended.
We're still working on that, but
Are they certified or are they not certified?
I have letters from the state for each of them dated May of, wait a minute, I got one of them here. May 30th, 2003, saying they're fully certified.
They were certified in 2002, but they did not attend their 24-hour classes in 2003
Well, this says
and
2003,
2004.
so, we're still working on
Okay.
that whole thing.
On Sunday, the 9th of this month, Dave Edwards was kind enough to come to my home and pick me up, and we went on an hour-and-a-half tour, at which at the end of the tour he had 4 full pages of problems that exist with code enforcement strictly at the north end of the town of Granby. He has assured me that he will proceed with those, and I believe he will because he's been looking into that for the last 2 or 3 months. On the negotiations with the CSEA rep for the highway, as well as for yourself and Ruth and et cetera, or anyone else that's in the program, are you considering making sure that they pay for a portion of their insurance, as well as a larger copay on prescriptions?
We have indicated that we are working in that direction.
Okay.
Not necessarily a larger copay on prescriptions. That's part of the plan that they offer.
I noticed from today's paper that Ruth now has 2 assistants, a deputy town clerk, as well as another assistant in the paper that's listed in the Valley News.
Nothing
today
different
and here.
from previous years. One is
Can you answer me?
uncompensated, I believe.
Is she
Yes.
uncompensated? She's
Yes.
not compensated?
It's not different from past years.
Okay. In the town of Granby, we have 4 county legislators. I'd like to see those 4, if they could. I know some have larger territories than others. See if they couldn't do a little more grant-wise for the town than they are presently doing at the present time. That's all I have for the town.
Okay,
The rest will be for Mike when we're done here.
very good, thank you. Next person, Les Holmes.
Hi,
Hi.
Les Holmes, Hunting Hill Road, Fulton, New York. But back to our rules of conduct at our meetings here. I put a paper on each one. I forgot to sign it, I'm sorry. But I put a paper on each one of your spots up there. And this is my suggestion, to adequately allow public comment. In talking to Dave Edwards and Carol Abbott, I really don't think that they thought that we were that limited as we are on comment. I think after the salute to the flag, we should be able to address, like the county does, that's kind of what we wanted, the upcoming resolutions that you're going to speak about during this evening, or the evening of the meeting. At the end of the meeting, and that would make it short so that you could get right into your meeting. The reason you make the agenda, and the agenda isn't made for Monday. You're like today. I got my agenda
That's always
at 4
the
o'clock.
afternoon of
You know,
the
which is
meeting.
okay. You know, but it would give us time to speak on something beforehand. Then the board members conduct their meeting, and then with the legislators' report, this public should be allowed to interact with the legislator. Many times, this is the only comment period the taxpayers get to use to interact with their county representative. Ideas in different avenues can be opened, and I think we've been pretty good at that in talking with you here. I don't think we've, and you could kind of write herd on what's going on if we got off, if someone got off on something different, or you could, Mike, you could say, it's really not relative. I don't want to get into that. And then at the end of the town board meeting, you could allow, I'll allow us to comment and argue and beef about our code enforcers or whatever. And my reasoning is, a plan like this is taxpayer and town government representative friendly. It's a kind of a win-win for both. This also gives the elderly, the shut-ins, and the people who don't have time to go to town and county meetings an idea of what's happening in the county legislature because of Mike, and the town board meetings because of the tape. A lot of people watch these tapes. I never realized how many people watch these tapes, and I believe that it would really help you people too. I don't think that you get as much involvement with petty problems if if you just open up a little bit. An informed taxpayer in open meetings, especially open meetings, promotes informed involvement and discourages taxpayer unrest. Now, and then I got to read the article here from the Valley News, and I was not real pleased last month with the article about the dog and pony show. I really don't consider myself an actor up here. I'm here. I don't really want to be here. I wish I could stay home and watch TV. I don't relish this coming down here and having to ride herd on you. But I just feel that it's my duty to be here because of some of the things that have been going on. I'm not going to get into it. I was going to, but I'm not going to. I will write on the Valley Viewpoints if I'm not pleased. I feel that that's probably a better forum than here, but I think I should tell you that I'm really not pleased. And I don't, and Dave, if you and Carol signed on to this, this piece that's in the Valley News, an attempt to restore some level of order to the meetings. I didn't really think our meetings were that disorderly. I think we got a lot of things out. Granby residents have blurted out statements that some would consider rude remarks in violating the rules of conduct. Makes it sound like we're in the Wild West here. The business of the town is conducted in such a manner that promotes efficient and thoughtful deliberations by those persons elected to the public, by the public, to fulfill the duties of the town board members as prescribed by law. The new rules of procedure state. Well, you're elected by the people, but it doesn't make you all wonderful Saddam Hussein or Hitler or anything. I mean, we're still the taxpayers, and I do feel we have a right to voice our opinion. I don't feel like we're out of control like the UN with Kofi Annan, and I don't want to get that way. But I do feel that we should be able to speak our piece, and I thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
The last, just one comment.
Sure.
We don't write those articles.
I didn't have anything to do, I didn't even know there was an article in, I haven't
Yeah,
even
we,
read it.
the board doesn't write those articles.
Well, they're in quotations, so
Understand.
somebody wrote it. So did you write that, Nancy?
No, I did not. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know what you're...
Was that in today's Valley News?
Yeah,
He
it's
may
in
have-
today's
he
Valley
may
News.
have-
I haven't seen it.
He may have taken a quote from me from some previous time. So I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure that Mr. Henderson didn't pick it out of the air.
No, I'm sure he didn't. Next name is Cheryl Holmes.
Cheryl Holmes, 198 Honey Hill Road. First off, I've got to ask you about your resolution authorizing you to sign the $2,800 for the planning and community development. How much longer is this comprehensive plan going to
Hopefully it
take
will
you?
be done this year, soon, in the next few months. It's at the planning board now.
I was at the planning board meeting the other night, and they gave us a report that there was nothing new on it. So
Okay.
So we gotta jack them up and get them moving.
Okay.
Okay, then
As soon as
this,
it comes back to us, we will have a public hearing and be done with it.
okay. So that $2,800 is just for the next few months?
Hopefully.
All right. Then your little article in the paper, Andrew had to get it from you, Nancy,
Well,
because,
I don't know what I haven't read it yet, so I'm not quite sure what you're talking about.
Well, he got the rules from you, so
Yes,
you had to have
that's what I
talked to him.
sent to him. I
Well,
faxed
that
it.
answers the question.
He did
You-
not have an interview.
All right, Nancy. This is to our town board of Granby and to our county legislators. I have looked at both the town and county budgets and thought about what I wanted to say to my public representatives that are supposed to look out for the best interest of their taxpayers. They are supposed to keep our government spending down and be as frugal as they can with our money. Nancy, you made the statement that from last year to this year, our tax rate dropped 6 cents. In your budget, everyone got a raise, and you surely didn't try to cut or hold the line. If no one got a raise and the line was held on everything, we would have had a lot more than a 6-cent drop. Then we had our county, and their big claim was they held the line. Well, the sheriff got 12 cars. They didn't take any line items off the budget. They kept them in. They didn't sell the asphalt plant. They sold Mashad for $1 million that they hadn't got yet, when they could have been $2.5 million. Now let me tell you what you haven't told the taxpayers. Our sales tax rate went to 8.25%. The county gets 4%. That gets divided between the county and the towns and cities. That means the county and the towns get a bigger amount of sales tax money for the last quarter of the year. The sales tax money that everybody pays is supposed to help offset our property tax that we, the taxpayers, pay. But instead, our great government has to give themselves raises, insurance, and anything else they think they need. This is my feelings when you run for office or are appointed to that office. You know what the salary or the pay was. If you don't like it, then don't run or don't take the office. The town and county officials are there to serve the people, not serve themselves. Now you have come up with rules about how we can speak because you want us to come in and talk to you about talk to you so that the public has no idea about what complaints are, and if we bring them up at the meeting so you can just say you knew nothing about it. I asked to be able to talk before you vote on resolutions and then be able to talk after you were done with all the business. You want us talking to our legislators at town, you don't want us talking to our legislator at the town public meeting. We need to talk to him so he knows how we feel about things that are coming up in the county. I guess that if you don't want us speaking freely at our public town board meeting, then I guess I will start writing letters to all the papers of the things that are happening in our town. The last I knew, this was a free country, and I do have a right to speak freely. And if I can't speak freely at a public meeting where officials are meeting and deciding things that affect my life, then I guess it is time for a tea party in the town, county, state, or country so that the people can start getting their rights back. I guess you will be hearing a lot more from me because I feel that we have been cheated by our town government, by our county government, by our state government, and by our federal government. Thank you.
And Rose Anthony?
I think one subject was already spoken about the negotiations with the highway. You already answered it, so I won't ask, but I hope, I fought that for the last 3 years that I was on the board. I hope all you people will realize it's time the snowball stops rolling and stick down to that. My second question is, a few people come in about the fire department for fireworks this past year, remember? And you says we have nothing to do with the fire department. We just give them in, and we have nothing to do with the fire department. Well, the other day I was questioning one of the firemen or whatever. Why is our highway department on a Sunday, double time on a Sunday, sanding around and around the Granby Fire Department? If the town has nothing to do with the fire department, Nancy, why was the highway department sanding all around the fire department double time Sunday? Can you answer that?
I can't answer.
Okay.
I,
Another thing, the fire department's building, maybe Ed, you can answer this. The fire department on Johnny Cake Lane is going to build they bought an old house and they're gonna build a training center. A training center, you know this, Ed, don't you?
I've heard of it, yes.
As a
That's
fireman?
Granby's. I'm with
Okay.
Cody, yeah.
Ed, Dave,
Doesn't matter, whatever you wanna call me.
they call me a lot of names, I answered everything.
That's all right.
They're gonna build a training center so other towns could come in here and train, right?
I don't know that.
All right. Now, I was told that if anybody gets hurt or anything, the town is responsible. Now, what is the town responsible in this fire department? They will be responsible if people get hurt in that training. The insurance in the town of Granby is responsible. Nancy, now please, you're supposed to answer some of these questions.
commissioners are responsible.
Huh?
I guess the commissioners would be responsible. I don't see that the town would be.
You're
I don't know
tell-
who told you that, but.
All right,
it
you're
may be
telling me
misinformation.
tonight that the town is not responsible.
Not that I know of.
I think most of the insurance for the fire services come under the county.
Right.
It's a
They have their
county,
own insurance.
Well, they're telling me that the town is responsible for this training where other towns come in here to train. Why should the town be responsible for any of this?
I don't know
And
who's
I don't
telling you
believe the
that.
town, I don't believe the town is. I believe it's, comes under the fire commissioners and it's the county self-insurance. I believe that's what the fire departments are under, they're covered under. And in some cases, they have their
I
own
don't,
policies as
I
well.
just can't seem to grasp passing the buck here and passing the buck there and nobody knows nothing.
We're not, who's passing the buck?
A lot of people don't understand the relationship.
In other
Because
words,
other towns have different relationships with their fire departments. There are only 6 fire districts in the whole county.
I was
We have
told by
2.
one of the commissioners about this. One of the commissioners told me that, I didn't want to name him, and I'm not going to name him, that the town is responsible if anybody gets hurt in this training, the town is responsible.
Do you know that he knows?
I'm not getting no answers.
I don't believe that's true. That's my answer.
Okay.
The fire department has insurance.
Yes.
The fire department has insurance.
The town's not responsible for this training house or anything.
No.
Okay.
See, if that happens in Granby, Granby's gonna be listed if it's a loss,
Oh.
let's be honest.
Everything that happens in Granby, Granby gets listed, but we're not
You'll be listed
responsible.
Whether you're responsible or whether you
Right.
aren't.
The ultimate responsibility, I think, would go back to the commissioners.
Well, they need a building permit.
Pardon?
Well, they need a
Yes, I
building
believe
permit.
so. I believe so.
Will it have to pass the code enforcers' laws
Yes.
when they build a training, will
If they
they?
have to have a permit, then it will
It'll have
have,
to
it's
pass the
not the
state
code
inspection.
enforcers laws, it's the state fire and building code.
It'll have to pass a state
Yes.
inspection. to
All
have
right,
a-
I'm confused. I
Power.
mean, when the people come here for about the fireworks, we just say, we're not, we don't know. But when I hear all this and I see the town highway saying, gee, if that's gonna be, why don't you tell them to cross my lot when it's icy out? I'd appreciate it.
They're gonna turn it around probably.
All right. I would, at this time,
Thank
close. You're welcome.
I was very polite, wasn't I?
We will close the public comment and move on with the meeting. Like,
Let me give you a copy of this, so that you have copies. Some of these might not get the valley news.
oh, I get it.
Oh, I get it, I
Just
just
don't get
haven't read
around, I
it.
just,
I don't need it, I got it, I just haven't read it.
I don't
No,
charge.
No, but I just haven't read it. In today's Valley News, I'll say it, yeah.
Thank you.
okay, how about a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes?
I'll make a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the previous meetings and to accept them as written on 12/8, 12/22, 12/28 of '04, and 1/4 of '05.
Okay, those are the regular meeting, the work meeting, the end of year bill paying meeting, and the organization meeting. Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. notice from Town of Lysander. They're having a public hearing on the 20th of January at 7:40 to consider a local law amending their zoning law of the Town of Lysander to impose a temporary moratorium on new commercial uses in neighborhood service zoning districts in the town, pending a study and review of the comprehensive plan of the Town of Lysander, and consideration of revisions to allowable commercial uses in the neighborhood service district regulations. That is a courtesy that they are required by law to notify us when they have, as they are an adjacent town.
Are you people here are all right?
Yeah, we can hear Nancy, at least I can, but we couldn't hear Mr. Haggerty, but that's,
Oh, he's cheering up.
Because we fixed that thing.
is that a new system?
No, there's a bunch of batteries in there, we found out they
Vince
were
fixed
bad.
it for me.
Yeah,
It's much better.
He has a mic now.
So you,
He has a mic now.
because I know she speaks softly, and I didn't know.
It's working.
You can hear me all right.
All right, I have, Ruth received a letter regarding a liquor license.
Yes, Fairway Manor is renewing its liquor license. Just
That is a notice that we don't take action on, but we let people know.
I had a question on that. I
Yes.
think we talked about the other day. Our Atlantic Inland inspections that we get done, before we approve, or we don't approve them, but before the state approves these liquor licenses, do you know if any background check is done on whether there's any open violations from the fire end of it or not, whether, before they're granted this liquor license? Okay.
I don't know what the state regulations are on liquor licenses.
I don't know what they do, what kind of investigating they do.
They just have to notify us that they are applying for it. That's all I want.
Okay, and you can check with Codes Department in terms of what their understanding is. I have a letter from Association of Towns that basically says what we've been reading in the paper. The court fine distribution system has been repealed, and instead of bigger amounts of money going to the state, we will be receiving our share under the rules and guidelines that we previously enjoyed. So that's good. The letter from the legislature chairman, I would leave that for new business and move on, because I want to get into some discussion about that. Old business. Back in the spring, I think maybe it was June, we decided to purchase a new plow truck. And I understand that it's pretty close to time for delivery. That means we have to pay for it. It was our intention to get a 5-year ban, which is what we have done in previous years with previous vehicles. And part of the paperwork are 2 resolutions that have been forwarded to me by Bonshonic and King, who is our bond counsel in this matter, that we have to pass tonight. And I've given you copies of these resolutions. The first one is a resolution regarding a seeker determination. He indicates in the letter that the proposed purchase of a truck is a Type 2 action under New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. As a result, no environmental review needs to be conducted by the town in connection with the purchase of the truck. The environmental resolution should be considered and adopted prior to the other resolution. So this is part of the paperwork that goes into the ban paperwork. So if someone would like to make that resolution that I don't think you need to read the whole thing, but make a resolution that we adopt,
One right here, here's a copy.
no, this one,
Okay, yeah,
secret one, this one.
and the secret, all right. Well, this is the one that we gotta pay, that's what I was concerned.
Right.
Okay. I'll make the resolution on this seeker report in the state of
Okay.
New York.
A second to that? You understand what I'm saying on that? When we do the band closing, there's a whole stack of paperwork that's half-inch thick, and this is part of it. It's all very carefully spelled out by law.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
When's the truck due?
It is scheduled to be finished in Harrisville the end of this week. Monday or Tuesday, it'll go to Stadium. They do their final prep. We should see it anywhere within 1 to 3 weeks after that, depending on how busy they are Stadium.
Okay. I wasn't quite sure when it was going to come and when we were going to be required to pay, so I wanted to get these resolutions out of the way and get the paperwork ready, and then all we have to do is set a date for the closing. Bruce, will you call the roll?
Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Greco?
Yes.
Supervisor Hawthorne?
Yes.
Counselor Hagerty?
Yes.
Counselor Abbott?
Yeah.
Okay. Then the other resolution is the one actually authorizing the issuance of $135,000 in serial bonds to finance the cost of the purchase of the new international truck.
I'll make a motion on it, if that's what you want.
Right.
I'll make a motion, the resolution on the Granby to authorizing purchase of 135,000 serial bonds to finance the cost of a new
Okay.
international truck.
Very good. Second to that?
I'll second.
Okay. This is the paperwork that our attorney has provided that has to be part of the package of financing. Any question about that? Ruth, will you call the roll?
Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Greco?
Yes.
Supervisor Hawthorne?
Yes.
Counselor Hagerty?
Yes.
Counselor Abbott? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, moving on, we have a resolution also, I gave you copies of it, I believe, regarding the assistance that we may require of the county planning board. And it is a maximum of, or not to exceed $2,800, and it may not, but that is the agreement.
I'll make that.
It's the same agreement we've had in past years. Motion's made by Councilman Hagerty.
I'll second it.
Okay. Which one? Question?
Yeah, I was reading this. So the town agrees to pay separately and directly all expenses associated, as well as a fee of $30 for each full-size hard copy requested of town plan
Right.
maps.
The
Who's
plan
that?
is this thick.
But who's gonna be requesting it, that we've gotta make a whole bunch of copies?
Well, we need, when it is finally adopted, or prior to adoption
Right.
perhaps, we will need to have these in finished form in the books. And they are expensive because they have all those colored maps and so forth in them.
I was just concerned, as you said, is for
They're not
many
for,
that are requested.
they're not for general distribution. If someone wanted one, and wanted to pay that amount and
We wouldn't
reimburse
have
us.
to- Oh, okay, yeah.
No, we don't make those available we would have to ask for reimbursement because they only make enough for the planning board and ourselves pretty much, I think.
Big one, I thought they were gonna make a couple of, right? And they got the little.
Well, I don't know.
That's what,
Yeah,
that's the last time.
That's right, we did talk about a little bit different format.
Yeah, a smaller one for, which gonna be less expensive, she told us.
Which I think this is. I think before it was more than that. I think it was
Oh, really?
$45.
There's really no need for each one of us to have one.
No,
Right. Okay.
we probably have 2 or 3. that's
Ruth, would
about
you
it.
call the roll on that?
Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Greco?
Yes.
Supervisor Hawthorne?
Yes.
Counselor Hagerty?
Yes.
Counselor Abbott?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, the other item, I had a letter that I just received yesterday or Monday perhaps, regarding the Oswego County low-cost electricity program. And this comes from Chairman of the Legislature, Russ Johnson, and Andrew Curran, Chairman of this Oswego County Public Utility Service. And it says, well, I'll read the whole letter here. There was a news release about this in the newspaper today, and all the media outlets had news releases. But beginning this year, the County of Oswego will be receiving up to 10 megawatts of electrical power at $32 per megawatt hour, which your municipality may be able to access for a limited time. This low-cost power is provided by Entergy Nuclear Northeast as part of the tax agreement for the James A. Fitzpatrick Nuclear Plant. The goal of the low-cost electricity program is to spur economic development, create jobs throughout Oswego County. Under the tax agreement, this power is reserved for allocation to new and expanding businesses in Oswego County that are creating jobs. However, until the full 10 megawatts of power is allocated to businesses, local governments may receive the electricity to help lower their costs and benefit all taxpayers. As new and expanding businesses are approved for power allocation, municipal allocations will be reduced. All public and private sector applications must be reviewed and approved by the Oswego County Public Utility Services Board. And it goes on to tell how to get more information. I did get a call back late this afternoon because I asked for more information from the person at Natural Gas Business Associates, who is administering the program, and she's going to send me the application. It seems like it would be a good idea. It's probably a limited time, and we don't know how long, but we pay a substantial amount of electric, our electric bills are substantial, so. What do you think? Should I proceed with, and fill out the application?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Okay,
Because like you said, everything's electric in this place.
yes,
If we can save money, great
Yeah.
incentive.
okay. I think it's a good idea. I will go ahead and, why don't we have a little resolution that I put in the application for our temporary allocation.
I'll make that resolution.
Okay, second of that?
Second.
Okay. Ruth, call the roll?
Okay, Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Greco?
Yes.
Supervisor Hawthorne?
Yes.
Counselor Haggerty?
Yes.
Counselor Abbott?
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you. I didn't know whether I was going to have enough information to really talk about that tonight, but I did get to talk to her late this afternoon. Okay, county legislator.
Well, you made my job easier. I was going to talk about that low-cost power for jobs,
Oh, okay.
but took that off my agenda here. Okay, last week we had our organizational meeting. I'm happy to report that Russ Johnson's chairman again and Greg Osedic is vice chairman. That Greg was probably the only change. I brought a copy of the committees so everybody could see who's on what. My committees are infrastructure and facilities, which is the old public works, the old highway committee. I'm still on that. And I'm on government operations and law. I'm vice chairman of that committee. I thought I should report also that although Granby did real good on their taxes this year, I thought they had a reduction of 6 cents per thousand. The county portion of the taxes, I've had a lot of calls about this, people are confused. The county portion of your property taxes went down 73 cents a thousand. So when people read them, they're misreading them. It's a little confusing. But it's actually a 73 cents reduction per thousand in your taxes this year from the county level. And that's across, that's all of them. That's your community college went down 19 cents. That was a big part of it, or one part of it.
That was a big part of it.
Yeah, but the Medicaid went up 33 cents too, so there was a lot more involved. I think our equalization rate changed 1% or something. That may have had
About
a,
1%.
yeah, so that was a big factor. I want to make sure everybody does know that I will be available after the meeting for any discussions, that any concerns anybody has. I won't run off. As far as grants, I heard something about grants earlier. I will work for any grant that somebody asks me to pursue. I don't know what is needed for the town, so I just can't go out and start asking for grants until I know what they're for. I did assist Lynn with one that he wanted, and it was successful, so I felt good about that. But all the legislators who represent Granby, there isn't any of them that won't work for Granby if we know we need something. All we gotta do is ask us, so. I guess that's about it. It was a real quick meeting we had because it was a organizational meeting. We did drop from 12 committees to 7 this year, so I think it's gonna run a little bit more efficiently, and it'll be a very productive year.
Very good.
All right?
Thank you.
Mike, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
On the grants,
Yep.
are you able to go in and surf on the computer to look and see what's available from the county level, at the county?
If I know I guess I'm a little confused. I knew that we needed a salt storage facility, so I talked to Senator Wright on that. If I know we need something, you tell me what is needed.
I guess I was just looking at it from the other way, as to what's available.
Actually, they're not county grants. Generally, you would help us to get a
Facilitate,
grant
yeah.
from, say, Senator Wright
Right, if
or,
Nancy or whoever
you know,
finds
and we
something
work
that's needed.
together to,
They don't have them like Homeland Security, stuff like that, they don't have, because they're listed on the computer as they have them out there available.
Generic, I don't know if it's something that's specific to one county. I'll check and see.
Okay, I wasn't sure how you guys,
No,
whether you had something on
Lynn
there.
brought that, matter of fact, when I was elected, I went in and asked Lynn, was there anything that I could do to help the highway department? He said, boy, we really need a salt storage facility. So I got on the phone, called up Wright, and I talked to him several times, and it turned out he kind of guided us on what direction to go, and he come through with $50,000. So,
Understand.
if there's anything else for the fire departments or the town, all you
I
do is
just
ask
didn't
me.
know if there was anything, if you
No,
guys had
It'd be nice
a
if there
list
was.
or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, of what money's available.
well,
Thank you.
There are some out there.
there are some, and
available like
it's
that.
all up to all of us to be keeping our eyes open. There's various grant programs, and I have some information on several programs. But they all have their own little. Okay, I have a report from the dog control officer. Number of complaints 20, number of dogs picked up 2, number of dogs destroyed 1, 3 dogs released, no dogs on hand, the food was donated, the vet bill was $55, ads were $1, mileage was $288, and adoption fees were $15. Assessor, I saw him. There he is. I knew he came in. Hiding in the back.
Okay. I haven't been to one of these in a while, so it's going to cover, part of October, November, and December. Couple pieces of new business. I have a couple of bills for professional association dues that I need paid. It's Assessor Association, county and state. And as a result of me performing the duties of assessor for a number of municipalities, I have a local law that is going to need to be put into effect so that we can change the date for grievance day. Obviously, I can't be in 4 towns at one time on the 4th Tuesday in May. I have the local law that I've used and several other assessors have used and a number of municipalities. Go over it, run it by Dennis. I don't think he'll want to change anything. If he does, he can see me about it. I'll submit this as well. What we're shooting for right now is the first Thursday after the 4th Tuesday in May, and I'll give you the calendar date for that too. Typically, you have to have a small public hearing before you pass a new local law.
The regular
Yeah.
local law procedure.
Mhm.
We can do a local law in 2 months
Okay.
easily,
Yeah, that's plenty of time.
so.
Just so,
we will-
I'm
we'll start on
required
this
to be
right away.
present for grievance day, so we are going to have to change it.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that. I knew you had mentioned it before and I forgot.
Okay. For the assessor's office, the big thing for this time of year is exemption administration. All of our reminder notices have been sent out. They come back to us daily. Income verification reminders have been sent out. Those are for the people who receive enhanced star only and file state income tax. We remind them not to come in. And, you know, one way or the other, the paper trail keeps going, but the state thinks that's better, so that's what we do. Continue to receive and organize exemption applications for the 2005 roll. Update, edit, and delete exemption information on the current roll. I am reorganizing the filing system for exemption paperwork. Some of that's not public record, so it has to come out of the folders that they're currently in. And entering all accepted exemption applications to the 2005 roll. File maintenance is another biggie for the assessor this time of year. I do have to drive the roads, collect the new building permits, the outstanding permits, things that weren't done when I went through there doing the actual reval work. You know, so this will be about the 5th time I've been in front of every property this year. So we're pretty thorough this year. There shouldn't be anything that slips through. There'll be data changes and valuation changes made as a result of those. They will be concurrent and they will show up on the impact notice. So there won't be an impact notice as a result of the reval and then a change to that assessment as a result of a building permit. I don't want to do that to people, so it's, you know, one's enough. And we continue to update version 4 records as indicated, you know, by the most current edit error report. Periodically we run an edit error report. It'll tell you, you know, this shouldn't be this way in the system, and you make corrections based on that. Not all of them can be fixed. The system's a little picky in the way that it likes things input, and it has number limits and character limits set, so it'll spit out an error when there's really not one. And I'm on a committee with the county and the state to actually try to deal with that as well. Continuing education, I did receive my appraisal license. I'm now a New York State licensed real estate appraiser, which is separate from what I do as an assessor. I'm an IAO as an assessor. I just thought it complemented what I do pretty well. The only thing it will change in my office is I now have to be a bit more careful in the way I estimate a value when people come in, as I can be held to it later now. So if someone comes in and says, you know, what is this garage going to cost me, I can't just spit out a number. It's, you know, it's basically going to be the approach, build it, I'll value it, and if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. And I can't project $5,000 and then you spend $15,000, but I can legally be held to the $5,000 after the fact. And again, it's not always based on what you spend. It's contributory market value that we're looking for. But I do have to be a little bit careful in the way that I speak because we can be held to it legally later as a result of the licensing. So I'll make every effort to do everything I can for everybody who comes into my office, as I always do. I just won't commit to numbers up front. Putting on the GRG hat and talking about the reval for a minute, tentative revaluation of all parcels has been completed. Everything has a preliminary number at this point. There's still cleanup to do. Obviously, we have splits and merges every year. New parcels are created at the county level as a result of a number of things. And the data from building permits and things of that nature that come on after the fact. But we're through the bulk of the valuation. All the values will be all values will be entered onto the tentative roll. I'll get through it as we speak. That's an ongoing process. That's probably going to take me the remainder of this month to get those on. The only place those values are going to exist until impact notices go out are on my laptop. So there's not one set of eyes that works for the town or does not that will see a value before impact notices go out, lest anybody think otherwise. The only person that knows is me, and I won't tell. Yeah. Okay, we continue to enter data changes from road review. I will be producing some documentation that I will hand out either before informal hearings or when you come in for your informal hearing. Those include price per square foot values. Those are broken out by neighborhood and by building style, okay? And those show what these houses are selling for from a low to a high with a median as well, with land included, okay? What that indicates to a property owner when they say, well, you know, where should I be? That gives you a range to kind of start looking at it. As long as you're not above the high, unless you happen to be a house which could be better than the highest sale, and that is a possibility. But typically you want to find them somewhere in that range, and it's just one more way to explain to a property owner, you know, this is what's happening here, and this is why we're doing what we're doing. Produce vacant sales spreadsheet with price per acre and price per front foot. That's done. I don't have it available yet, but it will be available before informal hearings. And the commercial evaluation factor file. And what that does is breaks down commercial sales. We tend to look at those on a countywide basis because we don't have enough commercial property that is sold to just use the town. And I try to kick out the city of Fulton and the city of Oswego because the commercial values there tend to be a bit higher, except in the cases where the neighborhoods in Fulton touch the neighborhoods in Granby, because obviously those values would be similar. And there are some neighborhoods in Granby that if you didn't know where you were, you would think you were in Fulton. So those I've allowed to stay in. And as always, any questions from the public? I'm in the office 9 to noon Mondays, 1 to 5 Tuesdays. My home phone number is published if you can't wait for one of those days or you think it's that important. So give me a call.
One
Stop by.
question, Dave.
Sure.
You mentioned an impact notice. What's the estimated date of that going out?
The estimated date for the impact notice, and this is tentative, so don't mark
Yeah,
your
that's what I was
calendar
just
just
curious.
yet. I'm shooting for February 25th for those to be
Oh.
in the mail. Okay, and then, call-ins for informal hearings will start the following week. And informal should begin the week after that.
Oh, all right.
So-
I didn't know it was going to be that soon.
Yeah, when we do get started, it goes pretty quickly. While I've got the podium, this is an extraordinary year for the assessor's office. In a normal year, I would discuss value with any person if they had a problem with it, anytime they came through the door. With the process that we're involved in, I'm going to have to say that I cannot discuss value with the property owner until after the informal hearing process takes place. When you get your impact notice, schedule an informal hearing, okay? There's just so much going on and so many other things that I have to take care of over the next few months that I just won't be able to dedicate time to you to explain that. And in fairness to everyone else that's scheduling a hearing, I don't want to just take walk-ins and have so many people bypassing, because the hearing process is a filtering process. What we're trying to do is pare down the number that are going to be in when I sit with the roll, and then further pare down the number of grievances we're going to have. So we have to stick to the process to make it work.
What's going to be your process for scheduling the hearings? Personal contact with you?
What there'll be is a letter included with the impact notice that will tell you when to call, and it'll be right there in my office. The dates and the times to call in. We have one phone line, so be patient. It'll probably be busy quite a bit. And we'll make every effort to get everyone scheduled that wants one. Okay, there's plenty of dates I have in my calendar now to fill in. I don't think we'll use them all. Typically, we see between 10 and 20% responding on a normal reval. And then going down the road, I'll meet with the grievance board, explain to them why we did what we did, and go forward with that process.
I'd like to just again touch on the tax bills and the misunderstanding. I know you've had calls, and
Yeah,
Ruth
we're
had
still
calls,
seeing-
and Ruth hears a lot of people come in and say, well, our taxes are up, and
As a
and she'll look
result,
it up, and they're not.
as a
They're
result
down.
of the level of assessment being stated, there's two numbers we live and die by. One being the equalization rate, and we all know what that's done to us. The other is the level of assessment. Now, in years past, while our equalization rate was low, the stated level of assessment was still 100%. So they didn't prorate, they didn't multiply the total value that appeared on your tax bill by anything. They just accepted it at face value because we were saying that was in fact 100% in spite of what the equalization rate said. Now, as some of you know that have been to the meetings prior to this one, the level of assessment was changed to 82% to help alleviate a slide in equalization rate. Sometimes the state will kind of play let's make a deal a little bit, and in order to keep us from slipping into the 70s and further hurting our star exemptions, our veterans exemptions, and the amounts that people had to pay, which are already over and above what our neighbors are paying, they decided to go with a level of assessment of 82% in exchange for an equalization rate of 82%. The problem with that is the county will automatically multiply that assessed value by a factor of 1.18. They're basically stating that the real value is 18% higher, which it is not. We never intended to change a value by 18%. It was to keep that equalization rate from sliding further. The confusion, in my opinion, has been worth the money that was saved by people that received the star exemption and other forms of exemptions. So, if you know somebody or if you've looked at your tax bill and you thought, they raised my assessment and they didn't tell me, that's not what happened. But I would encourage them to call me and I will explain it to them individually as well.
The important thing is we want people to understand, unless they received a notice last spring that
Yes.
the assessment was not raised. It's
If-
a hypothetical number.
Yeah, if you didn't
Yeah.
receive that notice in early May last year, your assessment didn't change.
Right.
So, that's where we're at.
I mean, people have heard that you're doing revale, and they're kind of taking that and putting.
Yeah, they're
this
automatically
in-
assuming they've already been
assuming that
changed, yeah.
It's already changed, and it's not.
No, I wish it went that fast, but it doesn't,
Yeah.
so.
Okay,
Is that it?
I think so. Thank
All
you.
right, have a good night.
Okay. I have a report from the historian. December was a light month. There were no requests for genealogy. I submitted ASA Standard Journal excerpts to Andy in the Valley News. The public response is on the positive side. I will be purging records this next month according to the Sarah MU1 schedule. That's from Elaine Woolridge, our historian records keeper. Planning board? We got anything? You were at the meeting, anything else? They're busy, I know.
Yes, they're very busy. Mr. Karasik was elected the new chairman again, and we're got a lot coming up.
Okay,
That's about it.
very good. And ZBA?
No activity for December, haven't heard anything for January.
Okay,
We did publish our new schedule for this year.
very good. Thank you. Okay, youth program, youth director. Carol?
So far, there is ice skating in January, bowling and pizza in February, and I spoke to her tonight. She's trying to arrange a movie in March, but she can't announce a date until she finds a movie that's suitable for everybody.
Okay, very good.
And anyone can get a hold of her at her home anytime.
She's doing a real fine job.
Yes, she is.
Okay, highway superintendent.
Well, in December, although it seemed December was quite mild compared to what we're usually used to, we did still go out on 19 days, have to plow and or sand, sometimes multiple times per day. Especially when the temperature fluctuates like it has been. You get some snow during the day and it'll melt, and then just about 4:30, when whatever sun we have sets, things freeze down. So, and we try and take care of that during regular working hours. So sometimes we'll be out there in the afternoon sanding when the roads are just wet, but we're anticipating the fact that they're going to freeze down later. So we're trying to save having to go out after hours. And so sometimes if you see us out there, that's what we're doing. Did repair snowplow turnarounds throughout the town. We took some fresh material in and regraded them. Did a lot of vehicle work in December. Besides work, we had 3 inspections. We're in the process of redoing the front disc brakes on the 1976 Trojan loader. Replaced the U-joint on a 99 Chevy. Repaired an exhaust leak on the 1989 International. Had a fuel leak on a 94 loader. Replaced the engine heater on the Great All. Rebuilt the spinner on the 1997 to make that one a little more efficient. And replaced the wing slide and the D-piece on the 1989 International. Cleaned up some trees, some winds we had in December on Pendergast Sharp and Wyburn roads. And did some drainage work on Wilbur Drive. Had some signs down on Floridaville and Wyburn Road, and we took care of those. Completed some cold patching. Had more trash pickup. The guys picked up 340 pounds of trash on County Line Road, 530 pounds on Hanley Road, and then they picked up 2 refrigerators, one on Halsted and another on South Granby Road. And last month, we had a community service worker come in and complete 10 hours sent in by the court system. And the only other thing I'd like to address, the question that Ms. Anthony raised. We do in fact assist the fire departments with a loader moving snowbanks when asked, and we do sand on occasion, either if the driver notices the parking lots are slippery or if we do get a call from the chief or assistant chief. This has been past practice. It continues on today. I think it's a good way to help our fire departments. We do it for both of them. In fact, a number of years ago, I stood right here, and Miss Anthony was on the board, and I brought the same issue up because I had heard some complaints, and I said, this is a process, it's ongoing, and if the board has a problem with it, please let me know, and we can stop it. But at that time, there was no problem, and so we'll just leave it the same way as far as I'm concerned. If you consider that to be a problem, then let me know, and otherwise, we'll just continue.
Okay, appreciate that.
Just one question for Lynn, real quick. Are there any particular days of the week when they're dumping the trash, or is it all mixed? Is it on a weekend, or?
I think it's both. It's nights and weekends.
We have code enforcement reports for December and for the year. Do you want to do those?
This is a code enforcement report for the month of December. Building permits, 1. Fees collected, $50. Construction value, $100. Inspections, 8. Zone complaints, 2. And that's it for the month of December. I do have a report here for the year. Building permits, 221. Fees collected, $19,889.50. Construction costs, $2,278,583. Let's see, as compared to 2003, building permits were 189, fees collected were $16,202, and construction costs was $2,584,000. Code enforcement activity. Inspections, 410, fire inspections, 18, complaints, 43, complaints closed, 23, junk vehicles removed, 17, mobile homes removed, 7, court cases, 28, court cases closed, 17. Our office has been very busy this past year. As you can see, the court cases require constant monitoring of properties, and New York State Code and is in full effect. We wish to thank you for your continued support and guidance. Sincerely, Brace Challenge, Harold Babcock, and Bob Dalton.
Thank you. Okay. Bruce?
Well, as you know, taxes are out, and our office is very busy collecting taxes, answering the telephone. Basically, what's happening.
Thank you. This is also a very busy time of year for me. I have, first of all, I'll mention that I have provided the monthly report for the month of December to the town board members, and have closed out the accounts, and we're in good health financially at the end of this year. But it's a time of transition. It requires a great deal of labor to transition into the new year in terms of changing the accounting records and doing the W-2s, et cetera, et cetera. I had thought about doing some kind of state of the town report, but I chose not to. I will say that I am very enthused about what is happening and some of the projects that are we have accomplished this year and what we're looking at this coming year. 3 big things this past year. Going to a sole assessor was something that has been talked about for years and years and years, and now it's accomplished, and I think it was a very smart move. The reval or reassessment process, which has been ongoing all year and will soon be done. It's very, very important to us. I received a report from the treasurer's office comparing different towns, and because of the equalization rate, our tax rate, our county tax rate, is higher than any other town, with one exception, that's Constantia. And that's only because of the equalization rate. So when we get to 100%, I think it will be a very, very positive thing for most people. Now, there may be a few people who have been severely underassessed for many, many years, but who may feel a pinch. But for the most part, if it brings it up to 100%, we will have a full $25,000 star exemption for people under age 65. We'll have a $50,000 star exemption for people who are 65 or older. And we should have lower county tax rates, lower town tax rates, and lower school tax rates. So it's and also it's the issue of fairness. Over a period of time, inequities are created or come about, and a house that is very much like their neighbor's house may not be assessed the same. So this will correct those inequities. The other item that I am greatly relieved about is that we were able to connect to the West River Road and North Sewer line with the school sewer line, and that has finally been accomplished. And I no longer have to worry when the phone rings that someone's going to say that the pumps are down and we have another $2,000 expenditure. So that is something we've been working on. It's an amazingly difficult situation to do, but we are very pleased, and we are very pleased, I would mention, that that was accomplished in part by a grant from Senator Wright that, for $28,000, and which paid for the cost of connecting the two lines, the cost of the engineering, some legal costs, and also the first payment to the school. They did agree to pay that, so that's good. Now, this coming year, we're going to be very busy. We already mentioned earlier tonight the comprehensive plan. We hope to finish that, and as soon as that's done, we should start making some changes in the zoning. There's some things, and I went to school not too long ago, and they said, most zoning has to be updated from time to time. There are things that, when the zoning plan was written, that we hadn't even thought of, like cell towers, for instance, or I can't remember some of the other examples, but there's wording in there that's vague, and we have found by very difficult experience that it's hard to interpret. And there are a number of other changes that we've, through the years, talked about making. So, but that should come about after the comprehensive plan is adopted. We have applications in for 2 water districts. One is a very major project of about $10 million, and we have put in application for grant funding and for a zero-interest loan. We should hear about that in the spring. I don't want to get into details on where it's going to run because I would like our engineer to be here. He designed the plan, and he had reasons for going up this road and not that road and so forth, in part dependent on the surveys that we did a year ago, in part depending on engineering reasons, and in part depending on funding grant application reasons, because if you include certain parts of the town where there are big problems, you are more likely to get a grant. There's another grant application in for a water district that has been requested for quite a long while up on Route 48 North, and that's a different grant source, and that one too, we put in an application last year. It was denied because they did not have enough money and the income level was too high, but they've adjusted their income level requirements, so we're going to give it another go. So that will be exciting. It will be interesting to see the result of the reval, and I think I'm missing something, but anyway, it will be a very big year. Okay, let's pay the bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment of town bills as audited for abstract 131 in the amounts of $11,833.77 from the general fund, $32,050.28 from the highway fund, $86.43 from Willabog Lighting Fund, $115.70 from Water North Fund, and $24.05 from the Water South.
Thank you. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
The highway is larger than normal because next week, we will be renewing the ban on the grade all and making a payment, $21,000 payment. Okay, the next meeting, tentative union negotiation, oh, I'm sorry, we gotta vote on that, yes.
Councilor Edwards?
Yes.
Councilor Gregor?
Yes.
Supervisor Hopper?
Yes,
Councilor Hagerty?
Yes.
Councilor Abbott?
Yeah.
okay. Okay,
Have we heard anything yet from our attorney on, working with the county on the Walmart issue? Is anything?
I have nothing to report at this time. I am still somewhat optimistic, but we just don't know. They will tell us when they're ready to tell us. I do hope that if they choose to pursue the project, that we can work with the city of Fulton, and I think there's many benefits for both communities and our entire area. And it would be nice not to be sending so many tax dollars down to Onondaga County. So we should be hearing something very soon about that. Okay? Now, can we have a motion to go into executive session? We need to do some discussion about our union negotiations.
Did we call the bill thing?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
We sleep?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor? I will tell you that we will not be doing any additional town work after we finish the executive session. We will be adjourning the meeting.
Nancy, can I ask one question? That big project you first announced, all of us are dumbfounded. Can you tell us where it's gonna be?
I told you that I did not want to give details until our engineer is here.
Oh, it's a secret?
No, it's not a secret. You just need the engineer here to explain it. Yes, that's all I can say.
It's okay then.
I don't even know myself actually where it is. I've heard two places.
What do you sit out there for?
Well, I mean, I know, but I don't know what they're gonna do exactly, which one we're gonna try to get money for.
It will come to Granby Center. Does that help?
No,
Okay.
it's okay.